I've been through the rain and I weathered the storm, I'm not looking to stop. My God sent the angels, I'm good when I move like I move with the mob. Tears in the valley, this life is a jungle, I pray to the top. Life is a marathon, I'm running to them, I'm shaking off weights and I'm done with the fear.
This is for the kingdom builders, the entrepreneurs who are called to make an impact bigger than just money alone. The ones who are overcoming trials and turning past failures into future success stories. It's for the bold who refuse to let fear overcome faith. This is Impact Kingdom. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 6 of Impact Kingdom podcast. Super pumped that you are here. Let's switch it up. Today I want to kind of talk about a passion of mine, which is fitness, health. If you can't tell, it's something I'm very interested in. And let's get real about what business is. And it's a high stress, high risk environment. And no, it's not necessarily the most physical taxing thing ever. For example, I would argue and say that someone working 10 hours laying bricks somewhere is definitely going to be a lot more physically taxing than actually being an entrepreneur and running a business. But when it comes to the mental game and when it comes to stress and just things that we have to deal with as entrepreneurs, is that there's a high level of risk and stress tolerance that is needed to be able to succeed in this game called business and to succeed in the American marketplace, especially as a Christian, right? Because as a Christian, we are operating at a little different level, right? There's a priority of our faith over everything. There's a priority of our family, our church, our commitments, our impact. All those things matter as well. And so when you take those things having to be a priority on top of the demands of a business, it can become this very stressful and even sometimes toxic environment. This environment that can set you up to have issues. I'll never forget, seeing some of my health issues that kind of rose when I first started my first business. A lot of that was things dealing with fatigue, not taking care of my body, not eating properly. Just all those things start to build up, and then you add on the stress and the demands of the business itself, and next thing you know, you have health problems, right? Next thing you know, you have ulcers, you have injuries that start to happen, right? You just start to not feel good. You have migraines, you have brain fog. Like all of these things start to happen, and it just feels like it hits you out of nowhere, but really what it was is it was building over months and years of just dealing with this high stress, high risk environment. And so today what I want to do is I want to kind of give you 3 things that you can do in your workspace to kind of set yourself up to deal with stress and be able to tolerate it a little bit better and just to feel better as well. And so these aren't going to be some crazy things of like, go in the gym, start a workout program, things like that. If you haven't done that already, I think you should. And we also have a Kingdom Builder Bootcamp that we do as well, that, if you want to message me about, I can give you more details about that as well, to kind of get you into the best shape of your life while also being a business owner. But these are just 3 simple things that you can do, no matter if you're going to work into an office, if you have an at-home office and you're running a virtual business, no matter what, these are 3 things that you can do that can help you take a little bit more control, help you reduce some stress, just help you feel better and actually produce better and just kind of optimize your workspace environment. And so number 1 is going to be movement, right? So movement is key. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, right, we're not actually doing physical labor. We're not, necessarily going and moving around and all those different things. And, sometimes maybe you are, maybe that's your type of business. But for the most part, if you're watching this, you probably work behind a desk. You probably work behind a computer for most part of the day, right? Especially if you have a business that you're scaling, a business with employees and things like that, right? You're probably spending time in meetings, spending time behind a computer, probably spending a lot of hours during the day staring at a screen. And so with that, we start to see a decrease in movement, right? The average person that's working behind a desk sometimes is only getting about 2,000 steps per day, which is so low, right? It's very little movement. And I've seen that happen to myself. Even with training and working out and stuff like that, if I'm just sitting behind the computer all day, and next thing you know, at the end of the day, I'll see I only got about 2,500 steps in. And so the amount of movement is lacking. And the thing about movement is that not only is it just great for reducing stress, it's great for blood flow, it's great for your health. Obviously, it's great for making sure that you can, burn calories and things like that to make sure that you're not gaining weight. But it's also good for productivity, right? It's good for focus. It's a good break, right? That's why taking walks and things like that can be so impactful. But if you have a high stress, high risk job, right, a business, you may not have the luxury of being able to go out and take a walk, every hour, right? And so some things that you can do is, for example, I use a desk treadmill. And so a desk treadmill, if you look it up on Amazon, Google it, you can find one, usually pretty cost effective as well. But it's just a treadmill that would go underneath your desk. You can pull it in, pull it out, very small, doesn't take up a lot of space. It allows you to be able to get your steps in while you're actually working. Maybe you're watching, and the things where I like to use the desk treadmill for, not when I'm actually trying to type, because that's kind of hard unless you're just super coordinated. Maybe I'm just not. But, it's while I'm watching videos or watching a training thing, or maybe it's when I'm watching YouTube to learn something. Maybe it's when I'm on meetings and they're just talking meetings, like Zoom meetings. That's when I'll use the desk treadmill. And so that can easily, right? If you just hop on there for 10 minutes, at like a speed of 2, then you're going to get somewhere between 700 and even maybe 1,000 steps in. And so that, if you just use that a few times during the day, you just quickly added 3,000 plus steps to your day in movement, right? Which is so good for you. Other things that you can do if you're a little bit more into it is you can get movement through, have a foam roller and a yoga mat, in your office. And so those things that where maybe once per day you break that out, you use that foam roller to stretch out the back, get some movement going, get some blood flow going. Maybe throw in some yoga movements if you're into that as well, some stretching, just something that you can do, even if it's just for 10 minutes to get some movement going and just help your body kind of even in your brain relax and reduce stress that way. Other things that you can do, I actually used to have one of these. I liked it a lot. Probably thinking about getting another one, is one of those mini trampolines. And so this isn't something to kind of do backflips and stuff on. It's just literally just a hopper, right? So you're just going to sit on there for maybe 2 minutes and you're just hopping up and down. You're creating blood flow. You're creating movement. I used to love doing that before sales calls or anything like that, because it just kind of gets you into this peak state of mind as well. So at the really what this all boils down to is just making sure that you are setting up your environment to make sure that you can have movement throughout the day. You're not just sitting in a chair, staring at a screen for 8 hours plus. You're setting in gaps, you're setting in break times where you're going to get some movement, whether that's walking on a treadmill, jumping on a little mini trampoline, or hopping on a yoga mat, stretching, foam rolling, and getting some movement that way. So that's number one. Get movement and make sure your workspace is optimal for that. If you have to leave your office to get it done, it usually doesn't happen. So figure out how can you actually make it happen within your office, especially during those seasons where you're going to be putting between 8 to 10 hours per day behind the screen, working straight, all those things there. Now, the second thing that you can do is you can work on posture. And so posture is so key. If you've worked behind a computer long enough, you've probably experienced some type of back pain, some type of shoulder pain, some type of migraines, some type of like neck tension, right? Just feeling uncomfortable. And a lot of this is just coming through just from daily posture, right? It's not being set up properly. It's being hunched over on a computer. Maybe you have a laptop, and that's even worse because now you're kind of like internally rotated. You're here, you're hunched over. All those things just add up, and it adds up over time. You do that for 8 hours plus per day for 3 years straight. What do you think is going to happen? All right, your body's going to take a hit. And so the way that you can optimize your posture are kind of from twofold. So, well, really it's threefold. So one thing you can do is you can have a better chair. So you can make sure that the chair you actually have is going to be, really designed for you. It's going to give great lumbar support. It's going to be something that's very comfortable, something that is going to be able to adjust to different heights, different levels, things like that. Even a headrest can be very good because it can keep you from, being forced to kind of have your head pushed forward all the time. And you can make sure that you're kind of leaning back against that headrest, especially when you're watching videos and things like that. So the chair you have matters. And so I would highly recommend, don't be a cheapo, right? Actually invest into a high quality chair. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars, right? You can find a really good chair for a couple $100s on Amazon that works for you. But, kind of ditch the old crappy chair and just make sure you get a chair that's going to help you improve your posture as well when you are sitting. The second thing that you can do is you can get a standing desk. And so this is something I love. I definitely recommend getting, spending the money and getting one of the standing desks that are automatic where it goes up and down, it's motorized, because you'll actually use it if you do it that way, right? Because it takes nothing but 5 seconds to adjust it to standing. You can stand for an hour, then sit for an hour, right? You can trade off. And also if you have a walking, a desk treadmill, as I mentioned earlier, it's very useful when you have a standing desk to be able to use that as well, because you can work and walk at the same time. So get a standing desk. I mean, they're very popular now. You can, I got mine from Costco actually. So you can definitely find a good, affordable standing desk. The second thing that you can do for posture, or third thing here, is going to be your keyboard, your screen, and your mouse setup. So if you're working out of a laptop, maybe you're virtual, you work on your laptop, it's a terrible kind of place to be for your posture because you have to be kind of hunched over, you're always looking down, and your shoulders are rolled forward. Versus if you have a monitor, right, that you can attach, that you can do like one of those dual monitors, you can have one big monitor, have something that's going to be eye level to where you're not necessarily looking down. You're not also looking up, but you're looking straight ahead when you're doing your work. Second thing is get a keyboard, right? Get a keyboard that's going to be friendly for you to use. Get a mouse so that way you're not hunched over the laptop. Have those things, and that's going to help you be able to open up your posture, going to help you from looking down all the time to looking straight ahead, and it's going to work well with a standing desk as well. So those different things there, right? Your monitor, your keyboard, your mouse setup, your standing desk, your chair, those three things can make a drastic difference in your posture, which is going to eliminate things that you may be feeling like neck tension, low back pain, things like that, okay? Now, obviously, you have to use it, right? If you just sit in your chair all day and you don't use your standing desk, now you have a problem. So have those things on hand. Those things can help you optimize your workspace. And the last one here is going to be just mainly for kind of brain power, attention, things like that, is going to be lighting. And so the thing that I recommend with lighting in your office is that you don't want harsh lights just beaming down on you all day, right? It's going to create fatigue. You're going to start having, kind of migraines can stem from it, eyesight problems, blurry vision, tension headaches, things like that just start to happen when we don't have the lighting set up right. So what I like to use is I actually use a kind of almost like my ring light. So I'll use that on like a soft light setting. Having natural light is perfect. For example, if the sun's out, my window's open to where I actually won't have any artificial lights on. I just have the natural light beaming in from the window. So if you are blessed to where your office has a lot of windows, use natural light as much as possible. If it's a cloudy day, it's a little bit darker outside, and the natural light just isn't going to cut it. You can use something like a ring light, or a light that has settings to where you can change how harsh that is, and you can get more of a natural light from artificial. A lamp, right? Those are the things that are going to be really good for light sources versus just having lights above just beaming down on you all day. So you want to be careful with that. You can also change your monitor settings, right? You can have like nighttime to where it kind of blocks out the blue light. You can invest in blue light blockers. I'm not a huge fan of them. Just I don't like how they look. And sometimes people can have eyesight problems with them, and they can actually create headaches themselves. But there are things that you can do to set up your lighting in your workspace to make sure it's not as harsh in your eyes, and that it just makes it more comfortable to be able to work longer staring at a screen without having as many of the drastic side effects that you can experience for them. So guys, just want to give you these three things. This is how you can optimize your workspace. It's a little bit different than other conversations we've had, but it's really important because if your productivity is not there, if you're dealing with pain, if you're dealing with headaches, if you're dealing with migraines, if you're fatigued, right? If you're beating your body up, it makes it very hard to be a kingdom builder. It makes it very hard to take your business and be a super productive and optimal within it if you're dealing with all these things that you can avoid by just changing how you set up your environment. So change your environment, change your actions, change your response, change your results. All right, guys, that's another episode here on Impact Kingdom. I appreciate you for tuning in. As always, please subscribe. Let's grow this community. Let's grow a community of kingdom builders. We'd love to see you in the comments. Love to learn more about you. Shoot me a message on whatever platform you're on, and I would love to connect. And then until the next one, guys, you be blessed. Take care.